Hey, what's up everybody? Today I have a brand new build for you. It's not the solution for your solo Grandmaster, but it's a whole lot of fun to use. I've been using it since reset, and it's just a really fun build to use. And basically it's going to revolve around our glaive and Karnstein Armlets, because those two work together. So basically, if you don't know, Karnstein Armlets will heal you on a melee kill, and a glaive lets you melee. It didn't always work. Like in the past, if you had a melee focus exotic on, it didn't stack with your glaives. So Necrotic Grips didn't work. Worm God's Crest didn't work. Synthesis didn't work. Most of them work now. I think there's a few outliers that do not work. Like I'm pretty sure Liar's Handshake still doesn't. And if it does, I'll be shocked. But anyways, that out of the way, let's just get into this build. I chose to use Stormcaller personally. I thought the speed boost was a great help, and then there's just a couple other things that will help lean into this build, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So, for our aspects, I went with Arc Soul and Electrostatic Mind, mainly because the heavy melee isn't going to come into play, like, at all. So, Arc Souls are great. It's another thing to help defend you while you're, running into hordes, stabbing everything, and not dying. And Arc Soul's going to help make sure that you don't die during this. And you're not going to survive everything. Just keep that in mind. Like, your health isn't more. You're just healing a lot. Okay? And then Electrostatic Mind actually does have a lot more synergies with our fragments, and it will help out our glaive gameplay, okay? So, for our fragments, we got Spark of Amplitude, which creates orbs. Like, rapidly defeating enemies while Amplified creates orbs is what it does, I think. And, going back to Electrostatic Mind, that makes you amplified whenever you get an Ionic Trace, which happens whenever an enemy is jolted or blinded and they die. So next we have Shock, which gives jolt to your grenades, and I chose to do Arc Bolt grenades just because they have a super fast cooldown, and if enemies are in my face, I don't want to throw down a Storm Grenade or Pulse Grenade that's going to hurt myself, when I could just throw down a Arc Bolt grenade, everything's jolted, and I could just keep going, make orbs after I'm amplified, and I'm all good, okay? Next, Spark of Resistance. If you're swarmed by enemies, it's nice to have damage resistance. That's all it does, and it's nice to have. I think in the gameplay here, I'm running Spark of Feedback, which I tested after and before, and I don't know why I didn't take it off, but Spark of Feedback will not increase glaive damage. In case you didn't know, don't use Spark of Feedback with this build. Instead, I suggest using Spark of Recharge, but if you are running a Lingering Grenade, you could run that fragment, but I chose to use Arc Bolt grenades just for the safety of it. But yeah, Recharge, if you get low in health, you'll get a little bit more energy for your abilities, and then you'll be full health again because of Karnstein Armlets. So that's about that. That's our subclass. That's what we're using. Your melee, use whatever. But most of the time, I was using the glaive melee, so I couldn't really take advantage of the abilities. So maybe Ball Lightning will be good, just to swap over to it, throw it out there. And I think that Arc Melee is one of the champion mods. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, more importantly, let's get to our armor mods. Combat style wise, I went with Charge with Light just because I feel like it fits the glaive playstyle the most. You could argue Elemental Wells, but I think Charge with Light works really well. High Energy Fire does work on the glaive melee, in case you didn't know. And since you're creating orbs, taking charge also works, or you can use Charge Harvester. That's something I enjoy using. And since you're not really worried about your strength stat anyways, tanking strength isn't a huge problem. So throw on Charge Harvester if you want. There's also Counter Charge, which whenever you break a champion or stun a champion, it'll give you Charge with Light, or your allies do. It's anyone, really. So you got high energy fire. That's the main thing. Reactive pulse wouldn't be horrible. Like if you're swarmed and you have Charge with Light on, it could save you. But I think protective light is a little bit better because it's passive damage resistance, and that's nice. So protective light, but if you're willing to not have that damage resistance, maybe reactive pulse is for you. But that's just kind of up to personal preference. I recommend protective light though. Weapon wise, it really doesn't matter. Run what you want. Of course you need a glaive. I was running Judgment of Kelgrath, which is the new seasonal glaive. And one of the big reasons I did that was the new glaive perk, Close to Melee, which whenever you get a kill with the projectile, it makes your melee do more damage with the glaive. That's pretty nice. Of course, is it the greatest glaive? But I was having fun with it. Maybe Whisper of Nezarec would be better because it synergizes with Arc, because it is Arc. But in the future, I can see this build being even better. Once we get more glaives, we'll have a more diverse pool of options that we could choose from to make this build way better. And of course, more glaive perks would help too. But other than that, your weapons really don't matter. In this gameplay, I threw on Disparity because I really like Disparity. And Anti-Barrier is pulse rifles this season, so it just kind of worked out well because that's mainly what I run into for champions. And then Heavy, I just threw on, one of the highest DPS options in the game, Grand Overture, just because it's high DPS. So I'm not running at the boss with my glaive because it really doesn't do that much damage, but I do have the glaive to protect myself with the shield. I could do some poke damage with the primary fire, and I can clear adds with the melee. Disparity's basically for champions and snipers. That's about it. And then Grand Overture, that's my boss damage. Other than my super, which I used Chaos Reach. It's Stormcaller. It doesn't have a good super. Most Warlock supers are bad, other than Will of Radiance. And I would argue Shadebinder super's good, but it's bugged right now. If you didn't know, not getting into that. But yeah, that's pretty much this build. A charge with light build, higher energy fire, protective light, taking charge, and then you're going to use Stormcaller. You're going to use things that get you orbs to spawn. And you're just going to run around with a glaive stabbing everything with Karnstein Armlets so you don't die. That's pretty much it. I might have more details in the description. Probably not. There isn't too much about this build. But anyways, thank you for watching. Check out that pinned comment down below for my other socials. My Discord server, which LFG is a thing. I want to start a Destiny fashion thing. I might do like giveaways to the winner for that or something. We'll see. We also do community nights every once in a while. We haven't done one in a really long time, but once we have more people, it'll be easier. Anyways, yeah. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, all that. And I'll see you in the next one.